Enter the long box of the damned 2024 bumper contest, if you dare. Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Patreon-sponsored review time again. And we need to talk for a second about something I said way back in the 200th episode. Since One More Day, I have refused to buy any Spider-Man story that takes place after it. Ever since I made that declaration, I get the occasional message trying to play rules lawyer over it. But you bought this comic since then! You reviewed this story! But what if their marriage is restored? It really is not as complicated as some seem to make it out to be. I'm not buying Peter Parker-led Spidey stories, like single issues or trades of Amazing Spider-Man or wherever, where he's the main character. Marvel doesn't get my money for that. And even if there weren't less legally dubious ways of acquiring books, I don't have to buy them because they keep finding whole new ways to piss off the fan base every 6 months. Honestly, kinda shocked Peter Parker Spidey stuff has any readers given everything that's happened since One More Day. From stories that were less than satisfactory for readers to weird retcons to the bullcrap they pulled on Kamala Khan because of various behind-the-scenes dumbassery to, well, what's happening at the time of this review coming out. People being mad at some dude named Paul that Mary Jane is hooked up with. Because Peter, Paul, and Mary joke, I guess? Oh yeah, and then coming out every 2 years to say, hey, we're totally gonna undo One More Day this time! Believe our teasing and hinting! It's Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown, but about a deal with Satan. And yes, I need to clarify this again. My problem is not that Peter and MJ aren't together anymore. I want them together, certainly, but Marvel leadership in the past has expressed frankly outdated ideas about divorce artificially aging characters, so they couldn't just split them up in the way that happens all the damn time in real life. So no, my personal boycott of Peter Parker Spider-Man books will continue as long as the devil deal remains. If they hooked back up but never addressed the deal with Mephisto, my decision to vote with my wallet will continue. So why the hell am I bringing this up? Well, that's because of today's review, a book that does indeed take place post One More Day and is technically a Peter Parker. No, it isn't. Not technically nothing. It's not Peter. It's his body, but not him. It's not his will, not his consciousness, not his mind. His body has been hijacked in a comic that lasted for almost 2 years, and even to this day, I do not understand what they were trying to achieve by doing it. Maybe there are interviews about it, maybe some behind the scenes that explains what sort of story they were really hoping to tell with it, but for over 30 issues, an ongoing series, plus crossovers with other books, and a brief team-up book, Dr. Octopus was in control of Peter Parker's body. It happened in the storyline Dying Wish, where he was able to swap minds. Peter did the best he could to get back into his body, but Ock accounted for everything save for one thing: Peter using his memories of his own life and forcing Ock to experience them. The idea was that even if he died, which he did in Doc Ock's body, then Doc Ock would know what it is to be Spider-Man and carry on as Spider-Man, since he otherwise planned to just be, himself. Honestly, reading it as research for this episode, it's perfectly fine. Would have been a decent Spider-Man story if it had ended with Peter reclaiming his body, but he didn't. He died in Doc Ock's body. On the final pages of Amazing Spider-Man number 700, Otto Octavius swore that with his genius and ambition, he would be a superior Spider-Man, thus launching the book we're talking about today. So there we have it. Now, regardless of the actual contents of the book, I already have an opinion on it, and I'll be giving it at the end. But I try to keep an open mind about what I review so that I can talk about what I feel are its good points. You don't have to agree with me on anything. This show is about my thoughts and my stupid jokes, but that doesn't mean they have to be yours too. So let's dig into The Superior Spider-Man number 1 to 5 and see what Doc Ock tries to accomplish to be better than Peter.
Atop the fourth wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn.
We're covering 5 issues today, so best not to worry about the covers in detail. Although in my opinion, none of them are that great to begin with. Very generic single images with barely any background. And you'd think you'd want the first issue to at least look good. 5th issues is okay since it's a bit more abstract and referencey, but nothing special. We open with Otto in Peter's body standing over the grave of his former body. I've come to say goodbye to my old life. I've got a coupon for a new one. A life wasted on villainy and failed schemes. A man whose sole victory was cheating death by switching places with his greatest enemy. I mean, got close to a victory royale in Fortnite once, but some of those licensed character weapons are so OP. Farewell, Otto Octavius. From now on, my name is Peter Parker. Although for tax reasons, my name is Tony Toneyson. He hears on a police radio, that is apparently a part of his wireless headset, that something is going down at Empire State University, so he changes into Spider-Man to go into it. A group of villains who are calling themselves the new Sinister Six, consisting of Boomerang, Shocker, the Living Brain, kind of an unnecessary adjective since I assume most brains are living already, the Beetle, Speed Demon, and Overdrive. They've stolen a barometric oscillator from the university when Otto comes in to berate them as pathetic jokes, easily able to evade them save for Speed Demon since he's a speedster. His decision then?
Run away! Run away! Run away!
Can't believe Parker put up with this. The man must have been insane. I know I experienced his memories and sense of responsibility to life, but second-string supervillains? Ugh. Yeah, seriously, his narration says that it's not worth risking his life to fight these guys. Pissed that he's just running away, Boomerang launches out, well, an exploding boomerang at him. It swings back around and almost hits a cop, but Otto suddenly tackles the cop and gets hit by the boomerang meant for him. Boomerang tries to slice him with a razor-sharp boomerang, but Otto unleashes little barbs he installed in the gloves and slashes them across his chest. The six escape, the cops saying they owe him for taking the hit for them. As such, Otto requests that they take the Living Brain, who is apparently actually a full-on robot, to Horizon Labs, where Peter has been working for a while as a scientist and inventor. He brushes off a co-worker who wants to help him with it. "You've got the Living Brain! That's like the Super Nintendo of robots!" What he means is that you can run Super Mario World on it. Max Modell, Peter's boss and the owner of Horizon Labs, stops by to share his concerns with Peter. It's in the open that he's helping Spider-Man by designing new weapons for him, and Max doesn't like the idea of building weapons with his company, especially when some of the materials he's requested could be used to make high-yield explosives, biological agents, etc. However, Otto puts him at ease. "Here, this is just a few of the many peaceful applications of the new technologies I'm exploring for Horizon. For you! Peter, this is the 6th time I've told you this, but they already invented the Furby." "Oh my, these are revolutionary." "Of course they are. Would you expect any less from me?" And we can see that what's on the clipboard is just, like, some squiggly lines. I think that Max doesn't actually know how to read. After he walks off, Otto grumbles to himself privately about how all the accolades for his achievements won't go to Otto Octavius, but to Peter Parker.
Really? How terrible for you.
He gets a call from Mary Jane. Yeah, he's trying to hook up with her again, and you'd think her, the woman who was married to Peter, oh, I'm sorry, thanks to One More Day, she never was, but still involved with him for years, you'd think she would be able to suss out what happened. Anyway, they go out on a date while Otto happily narrates to himself about how he likes having Peter's life because he can stare at Mary Jane's boobs. Like a hero. He explains that he was distracted, not by her chest, but by listening in on the Sinister Six. His little claw attack had actually contained nanite spider tracers that are allowing him to monitor the villains. She asks why the hell he hasn't busted them yet, but he says that for now, he has a tactical advantage. And I won't begrudge Otto this. It's still 1 against 5, even if Peter had been there, so it would be better to wait and spring a trap like Otto plans to. And indeed, Otto quickly overhears them saying they plan to attack Horizon Labs, while Peter makes this face and keeps referring to MJ as dearest. Again, his closest relationship finds his behavior slightly off and not, okay, you're either under mind control or been replaced by some kind of doppelganger. Which, you know, it's the Marvel Universe. This is not unprecedented. Hell, MJ has still had to deal with Peter Parker clones and Kraven the Hunter stealing the Spider-Man identity. Why is everyone so stupid during this? In any case, the villains attack the labs and quickly locate the device they want. Some of the employees observe this. We should do something! Bella, no! They're bad guys! Just stay out of their way! The comic is inviting me to make fun of it by invoking the monitors with that exchange. While the villains are quick, Otto had all night to plan and prepare for this, so when they try to leave, he has already set up a blockade, coated the ground outside in a frictionless surface to take down Speed Demon, a power dampening field, and even called reporters to be there to film all this. He claims he figured out where they'd be based on what they stole. All the parts to build a weather machine, no doubt to blackmail the city with a tornado. It was a good plan! It was uninspired tripe! You'd think Doc Ock, of all people, would appreciate the classics. Boomerang surrenders, but Otto begins beating him half to death, fully intent on killing him, but it seems Peter Parker isn't done for, his mind subconsciously influencing Otto and keeping him from killing anyone. You don't get to kill. I won't let you. I don't know how, but I am still in the fight. I am Peter Parker, and I swear I will find a way back. More on that later. Issue 2 begins with Otto returning the stolen equipment to ESU and even getting to shake hands with J. Jonah Jameson, who was mayor of New York at the time. MJ and Carly Cooper, a character introduced post One More Day, are sitting in MJ's apartment and commenting on how weird it is to see Jameson being nicer to Spider-Man. Carly also noting something weird that happened a short time ago. Her run-in with Doc Ock at the police station happened in the lead-up to Superior Spider-Man. Peter had revealed himself as being in Doc Ock's body to her, but she didn't believe him at the time. She's starting to ruminate on it, at least until MJ says that she and Peter are maybe getting back together. Anyway, Otto intends to improve Peter's life just as much as Spider-Man's, and that starts with one Mary Jane Watson. Parker was a fool for keeping such a ravishing creature at a distance. Not even the devil himself is gonna get in the way of this relationship. Our third date. Weird, right? No, everything's proceeding according to plan. He's saying supervillain stuff! How can no one see through this? It's called an idiot plot, Peter. It means the story only works if everyone's a moron! When he has to rush off after a fire truck, Otto decides, especially after looking into Peter's memories and seeing that he did this like all the time, that this is inefficient, that there's gotta be a better way to manage his crime fighting. As such, he invents a series of self-replicating spider bots that can handle his normal patrol routes, monitor things for him, and alert him if something weird is happening so he doesn't have to interrupt dates all the time. MJ is suspicious of how different he's acting, but he just tries to brush it off as being a more efficient Spider-Man. They start going on more regular dates, but to Otto's frustration, they never end with anything more than a goodnight kiss. Even after swinging her home, she has to turn down anything else because Carly is staying with MJ at the moment. So, what's Otto's solution? Why, he has Peter Parker's memories, so he could just relive all the times Peter made out with her or slept with her whenever he wants! The comic plays this for laughs, but in truth, this is incredibly violating and gross. Body swaps truly are horrifying. You can try to play them for laughs. Freaky Friday stories are a thing, but that's because if you don't, it is the ultimate in body horror, losing what should be your full autonomy and sense of self to someone else. Worse in this case, because it was stolen from Peter. Oh, unless you think he was interested in Mary Jane romantically, no, he just wanted to bang her and was obsessed with doing so. So now he starts hitting on other women and specifically says he can move on to new conquests. You know, like a superior Spider-Man. He's turned the living brain into a robot butler for himself, and his spider bots soon detect some little bird creatures attacking Mary Jane. She opened a nightclub, but the place used to be a hideout for the Vulture, so the bird things are there to kill her. Otto saves her, but when she tries to kiss him, he refuses. He can sense Peter's feelings for MJ, and decides to put an end to that by giving the old spiel. He can't be with her because he's both Peter and Spider-Man, and thus to keep her safe, he has to move on from their relationship. She tells Carly about this and how he's probably right, that they've done this dance too often and they have to change, but Carly says it sounds like he's a different person, and she remembers Peter in Otto's body talking about the swap, and she gets suspicious about it to end issue 2. Carly Cooper, a character invented to give Peter another love interest after One More Day, and is named after Joe Quesada's daughter, because of course she is, figures this out before his former wife does. Thanks, comic! To be fair, she has the suggestion in her head already in the build-up to this, but it's just frustrating given the history here. And it's not like I hate her or anything. I hate what she represents because of One More Day. Regressing to the infinite loop of Peter is eternally single and his love interests will die or become supervillains. which happened to her, by the way. Anyway, issue 3 opens with Jameson summoning Spider-Man to the police station with a giant spider signal in the sky. Otto destroys the signal and mocks the concept. A giant beacon in the sky announcing to all my enemies where they can find me?
Yeah? So what? So they can show up where I can punch them instead of me needing to find them. And there are dozens of people beneath us who have guns in the same building. If you can't handle that on your own, well, skill issue.
Otto says he'll give him a shielded phone number in the future to contact him. They summoned him because of the reports of bird-like creatures like the one that attacked MJ have been committing crimes all over the city, likely meaning the Vulture or a copycat villain. Since they had previously worked together, they asked him to work with Carly on it. She works in the station. Carly is still suspicious, but there isn't really much she can do as he makes modifications to the lenses in his mask that will allow him to detect the magnetic signatures of the Vulture's wings. When Otto thinks back about some of the times they worked together, Peter finds himself sucked into observing his memories. Peter sticks around to watch the memories while Otto confronts the Vulture. He actually tries to offer him a chance to leave and he'll give him money, but of course he's in Spider-Man's body, so the guy isn't listening. When Otto shoves away one of the bird creatures, it knocks off its mask, revealing a small child. Impressive, Vulture. It takes a lot to be as horrible a person as Doc Ock, but exploiting kids like this? I don't know if it's worse than him, but I applaud the effort. Realizing what the Vulture's done forces Peter out of that memory and to Otto's childhood, where his father physically abused him. Naturally, this revelation pisses off Otto more, making him realize he never truly understood Adrian Toomes and goes to attack him. The Vulture flies off as Otto runs out of web fluid, allowing the villain to start choking him midair. However, Otto planned for this possibility, using his tech on the spider signal that he didn't fully smash, sending out such a massive beam of light right at them that it blinds the Vulture and causes him to crash down. He's alive, but just barely. Carly is horrified by this, and Otto makes up an excuse based off of what the Vulture had previously done to her, but it's clear from her expression that she really does know that it's Doc Ock in there. And she takes the time to warn none of the people who knew Peter's secret identity. And God, where's that Avengers hotline that was in Secret Wars 2? Did they just get prank called all the time so they shut it down? Issue 4 begins with Otto sending off more of his spider bots. In the month that he's taken over Peter's body, he's annoyed by how Peter operated and wants to improve on it. He was a man of limited vision. No plans. No schemes. Well, to be fair, most good guys don't really refer to the things they do as schemes, dude. Also, why does he keep acting as if he doesn't remember those memories he experienced of Peter's life? Anyway, he improves his efficiency thanks to the bots, prioritizing what crimes he stops, his reputation for violence from what happened to Boomerang and the Vulture, encouraging some minor villains to just surrender when he shows up, but he also will ignore some crimes, like, say, a fire in an apartment building, instead routing the info to the fire department rather than going to help people. Instead, he goes to check on Aunt May, who sustained a major leg injury in a previous story. She's forced to using a cane now, and the doctors say she's too old for any radical surgery. As he is an arrogant douchebag, he decides, fine, I'll do it myself, and goes and invents a neuro interface and exolimb for Aunt May. He shows it off to Max Modell, who's irritated that he's being summoned since, you know, he's Peter's boss. Also along is Otto Jackson, a fellow member of Peter's think tank. Neither is happy with the idea of doing human trials like this. What are you, Dr. Frankenstein? No, Dr. Frankenstein's monster! Hey, wait. When Otto replies it's Dr. Peter Parker, Max points out that, no, Peter doesn't have a doctorate. That can't be right. Accessing memories. Accessing memories? Whoa, he's lost it. We better not do anything about it, though. That'd be silly. But yeah, Otto discovers that Peter never got his doctorate, apparently 1 credit short and without a doctoral thesis. I received a doctorate by the time I was 16! Parker! What have you done with your life? Mostly he spent it kicking your doctor ass every other week, dude. He tosses his invention to the side and storms out, like a perfectly normal person, and says he has to go rectify this. Yeah, I don't know why in the comics Peter never pursued his doctorate if it was really that close. I'm sure it just wasn't in the minds of the original creators when Peter graduated college, probably thought of him pursuing his photography instead. But then again, there's that classic line I keep repeating, only a science major never actually gets his doctorate! We cut to Ravencroft, the mental hospital frequently shown in the Spider books, where we see that an escape is in progress. Massacre, a violent sociopath, has managed to get out, and murders frequent Spider-Man recurring character Dr. Kafka in the process. It's okay though, they brought her back as a clone later because someone at Marvel wants to make sure I never run out of Clone Saga stories to review, even long after the Clone Saga ended. Thanks to a donation from Otto and an endorsement from Spider-Man, Otto's allowed to re-enroll to finish Peter's credits. He doesn't do great at the start, recognizing the teacher as an old classmate of his and bringing up the bullying nickname he used to possess. A woman in the class says if he's going to survive the class, he'll need help, handing him a card for her tutoring before disappearing from his sight. Before he can contemplate that, Jameson contacts him to show what happened at Ravencroft. Spidey had caught Massacre before and reassured Jonah that he'd never hurt anyone else, and Otto is so enraged by this that he swears to end Massacre once and for all, despite Peter's spirit trying to push him the other way. After Massacre kills a bunch of people in a fast food restaurant when a worker trips the silent alarm, Otto as Spider-Man goes to see Uatu Jackson. Uatu apparently secretly created some facial recognition software that aided a vigilante named the Wraith, and Otto wants that software incorporated into his spider bots to track down Massacre. While Massacre walks off with a couple of secret hostages to get to his destination, some of Vulture's kid recruits that managed to evade Otto's recapture soon get recruited by another villain, the Green Goblin, ending issue 4.
There's someone who can keep you all safe from the spider. Someone who knows his every trick and how to crush him once and for all. First, you need to have sex with his girlfriend and secretly raise their twin children. Okay, this plan might not work for you kids.
We open our final issue we'll be looking at today in the penthouse of the CEO of Fizzy Cola Industries, which owned the fast food joint that Massacre killed a bunch of people in. She's incredibly worried about this harming the brand image of the chain, also making their stock plummet. But what's going to hurt things more is that Massacre has shown up with a business proposal for her. As you know, my actions have tarnished your company's image. Apparently even more than your recent ad campaign.
We love these songs! 'Cause they are good to us!
Where you doctored old footage of beloved American icons to associate them with your product. That didn't go over well, did it? Yeah, you wouldn't see Cuba Cola pulling that kind of dishonest campaign, damn it! But what if you'd gone the other way and had the truly despised endorse your competition? Yeah, neat idea in theory, but Hitler doesn't look too happy drinking that soda. I think it sends the wrong message than you intended. So yeah, he wants $12 million to go and kill everyone in the middle of New York City while wearing their competitor's logo. Miranda, listen to me. Normally you can't buy that kind of bad publicity. Well, today you can. What's really sad is that I looked up how much a soda advertising campaign is, and $12 million is actually relatively cheap. Hell, a single 30-second Super Bowl ad in 2022 would have cost half that. Uatu grants Otto access to the facial recognition software and he starts using it, though of course he's reluctant to give any single person this kind of information or power.
What? I'm no big brother. I'm Spider-Man. And good people never become corrupt with power or use power inappropriately. Don't be an idiot.
With the system in place, Otto swings off, saying he can move on to the next order of business, which annoys Peter.
What? There's no next? Massacre's on the loose! He's killed! And he'll kill again! Go on patrol, you idiot! Chase down some leads! Do something! Nothing's more important than this! Nothing!
Okay, Peter, I hate siding with Otto on this, but like, what will that accomplish just swinging around blindly? Chase down what leads? He's got the system in place looking for him that will alert him immediately if it spots him. So, what's Otto up to instead? Well, he's off to visit the woman who gave him that business card, Anna Maria Marconi, a little person who wants $60 an hour twice a week for tutoring. He balks at that, telling her to stop contacting him about it. However, as part of the package deal, turns out she's a science chef, someone who uses chemistry to maximize the taste potential of food, which greatly impresses Otto. Me, I'm just wondering why she had 2 plates ready. Sure, he could have scheduled this in advance with her, but the impression their dialogue gives is that this is the first direct contact he's had with her since she gave him the card. She gets him up to speed in the class, but now it's his turn to impress her, revealing he has a deeper meaning of the material than even she did. She thought he was just some slick rich guy, but he's actually intelligent. And now Peter is pissy because he actually ate food while Massacre was loose? Like, Seriously, Peter?
Every single reference to your past paints an ever darker picture of a damaged, lonely little man.
Anyway, Massacre gets spotted, and Otto actually calls the cops to alert them, something Peter realizes that he'd never thought to do, but he wants the cops to keep him busy. Massacre likes to have additional hostages as bargaining chips, so he decides to go rescue them first, tracing them via a radio frequency Massacre used before to keep a signal to the explosives around the hostages. He does indeed soon arrive and disarms the bombs. How very surreal. Not long ago, I was trying to extinguish almost all life on Earth. You'd think I was actually a really awful person or something. The cops intercept Massacre at Grand Central Station, and he guns them down. What's worse, he has inexplicably managed to wire the place up with explosives to discourage more police from entering. Spidey keeps encouraging him to save people, but Otto just sees it as a distraction from directly dealing with Massacre, finally managing to get in and knock the almost Liefeldian gun out of his hand. I don't know, maybe this is a real gun design, but it looks kind of goofy to me. He tries to use the hostages against Otto, but of course he's freed them already. Instead, Otto picks up his gun and shoots him in the shoulder. Otto seems to be able to hear Peter, or at least views it as his own conscience arguing with him. Someone in the crowd yells at him to finish him off, and Massacre realizes that he's actually afraid. Kind of overjoyed that he can finally feel something for once. Once again, Peter tries to get Otto to stop, but he says no. You are who you are. The killer will always be hiding inside you. And yeah, that's kind of the point, isn't it? I'm sure that's intentional on the part of the creative team. This acknowledgement that, yeah, this is Otto Octavius. He is still a killer, still a supervillain, still a monster. More in a bit. And yeah, Otto shoots him dead. Despite Peter's pleas, the world now believes that Spider-Man just killed someone. And he ain't denying it. The CEO of Fizzy-Cola is slightly upset by the lack of mention of their competitor, but is otherwise just happy this whole thing is over. Especially since they're not mentioning her company's brand anymore. However, Otto's spider bots come swarming in and he appears to her, saying he knows about her secret bank account paying Massacre, and that he is pissed that she sat back and watched this all happen, warning no one. And so our comic ends with him demanding she turn herself in, or she'll answer to him. I see everything in this city! Everything! Yes, even what you do with that Fizzy-Cola plushie! Everything! That is my power and my responsibility to watch over and judge you all!
Are you crazy? Is that your problem?
People are going to disagree with this opinion, and that is their right, and I never demand they agree with me. My opinion is based purely on my own personal preferences and tastes, what I find to be an enjoyable story, what I want to see out of these characters and this universe. Some things are a bridge too far for an audience, some things are just worthy of a shrug. Don't take my feelings as gospel, make up your own mind and your own opinion. And in my opinion, these comics suck. It is certainly not over any kind of technical problem with them. The premise of the body swap is fine enough on its own. Hell, even some of the things happening in it I think would work well for an ongoing story. But I can't view these comics in a vacuum. They are part of the wider Marvel Universe and the wider Spider-Man continuity as a whole. And I view them through the lens of my likes and dislikes. Ignoring my own biases, there is nothing particularly wrong with these stories, though definitely killing off a longtime supporting character like Dr. Kafka to a fairly one-note, boring villain like this is more than a little questionable. Hell, if you can get past the things that I can't get past, then it might actually be a fun read. But for me, this isn't a fun read. This is a story where evil won, and we have to sit and watch evil continuing to win for every second that Otto Octavius is in control of Peter's body. And sometimes I think we're even supposed to root for him, agree with some ways he improves things, agree with the man who is more than happy to commit an act of sexual assault, wanting to sleep with Mary Jane under false pretenses. The man who used Peter Parker's body to commit murder. Yeah, you can argue whether Massacre deserved to be shot down all you want. Still murder. The man who becomes increasingly violent and totalitarian in his methods. The man who violated the privacy, memories, and goodwill of the people around him. Now, one could argue, well, we're supposed to be along with Peter for this. We're really rooting for Peter to restrain Otto, or of course eventually retake his body. Clearly what they've set up for in this series. Yeah, funny story. Otto manages to purge himself of the subconscious Peter and erase him by issue 10. He does so by eliminating all those Peter Parker memories too, to really show off it's all him inside of there by that point. The whole, I'm gonna be better thing, just his own narcissism and arrogance, and not actually influenced by the man whose body he stole. Oh sure, he inexplicably comes back at the end of the series and Otto relinquishes the body back to him, but that's a good chunk of time about a supervillain fooling everyone and ruining a hero's life in ways he may never fully appreciate. When he came back, he didn't know anything about what was going on and who he had spoken to or offended or etc. Otto effectively ruined his relationships, his reputation, and his life. Also, it turns out Aunt May is prejudiced towards little people, so thanks for that, comic. And the worst part is that Spidey's reclamation of his body feels a bit unearned. The Green Goblin gets the better of Otto, and Otto's just like, well, guess I'm an idiot. Peter, you truly were better than me because I don't carry around constant guilt and self-sabotage like you do. But for 2/3 of this book, and hell, parts of this beginning too, we are just forced to watch a supervillain pretend to be a good person, while indeed harming a good person. And that's what he is. The killer hiding inside of Peter Parker who could not change. The truth of the matter is that even if the book actually stuck to the premise it had at the end of Dying Wish, instead of mostly ignoring it here, well, with Otto's increasing arrogance and willingness to kill people and deny Peter's morality, then it still would be a betrayal of it. Because the real truth is that if Otto Octavius actually had Peter's memories and morality, then the only thing he'd be focused on is giving it back to Peter. Because what he did was wrong, regardless of whether he thinks he's a better Spider-Man than Peter. Hell, a better story probably would have been he's fully aware of subconscious Peter, and Peter's acting as his conscience the entire time, like they have back and forths about it, and eventually Otto relents to Peter most of the time. These issues are otherwise fine. There are some things I like about this whole setup. I like that Otto recognized Peter's potential and actually tried to do something with it. Get Peter his doctorate, invent new equipment and crime-fighting tools. Not necessarily an army of Spider-Bots, but a few Spider-Bots could be handy. Make time for himself when he doesn't have to solve every crime out there, or actually utilize existing infrastructures to help matters. Calling firefighters, letting the cops handle massacre for a bit so he can save hostages, etc. I like that Otto's costume changed over time as he made improvements, starting with just the color scheme for it, but then adding on new gadgets, and then by the end, a completely different design that became his signature look whenever Superior Spider-Man showed up, like in Spider-Verse. I like the introduction of Anna Maria Marconi, a little person character, potential love interest, and someone with an IQ to match wits with Otto or Peter. But these things could have been done without the parts I disliked. But hey, what do I know? I'm still not buying this stuff while Peter himself still has a deal with Satan hanging over him. Next time, another Patreon-sponsored review, but one more up my alley as we check out Star Trek The Next Generation, Broken Mirror.
Sitting on my couch reviewing comics, the worst books that you will ever see. It's sad that comic books are for geeks, but they're not. They're for everybody. If you doubt that I am a man, I am a man.
Your secret bank account, paying a twisted man to do twisted things. I am familiar with the practice. I paid 4 supervillains to attack people while wearing Pepsi Blue shirts. It didn't work there either.
Hello, my friends. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon, buy merch from the store envy link in the description, or check out the t-shirts available from Teespring. Thanks for watching.